All right, I am going to go ahead and get started into this special roasting coffee session. So I'm going to get this started here, and then I'm going to tell you kind of what's going on, why everything looks so weird. Let me go ahead and get the coffee in. Sweet Maria's, of course. See if I can't do this without screwing up today. All my scenes working. Okay, that's in there. All right, so as you can see, things are a little different here today. Got a little Mexican organic, not that I really care. It says on here, it's got some crowd-pleasing wide roast range. Light roasts are cleanly sweet caramel accents of praline nuts and candied pecans. Dark roast are deep-toned smoky cocoa, dark chocolate, and city to full plus. I don't know what they're trying to say on that one, but it looks like we're gonna get some chocolate flavor out of this because we're going dark today. This one here is the other, what I put in there. So this was no particular choice. This is my last two bags. So this says it's gonna have notes of Earl Grey tea, some lively citrus hints, orange peel, cocoa, aromatic baking spices. So let's see how that works out. I'm going dark today, so I wanted to get everything going. I really only got about 30 minutes to do this because I got to get out of here. I got something going on. So setup is different today because I'm in my garage. So because I'm in my garage, I kind of set this up like my normal setup I do on my other channel. And I have the background video playing. That's just a clip from my other channel. I do a lawn mowing, lawn care type channel as well. I do all these things for fun. In Washington, it rains a lot. In fact, that's why I'm in my garage and I have this set up. Because it rains a lot, we got to find things to do because you can't go outside. I'd love to go outside. I love to mow the lawn. I love to work in the lawn. I love to work in the yard. When it rains, can't do that. So because I can't do that, I have had to find other means of entertainment. So I started doing the lawn care last winter, and I had so much fun when I started doing the lives that I started doing the coffee roasting as well. And I do the coffee roasting. Hey, thank you everybody who subscribed. New people, I really appreciate you subscribing. Every time I get a new subscriber, I'm, like happy and just joyed because people are actually subscribing to see some coffee roasting. I'm only doing this to kind of bring this to people as a hobby they can do at home. Like I said, because it rains a lot around here, you got to find something to do. And I normally do this in the backyard, but because of the rain, I'm not doing it in the backyard. So I'm in the front yard and I got everything going here. I just want to check a few things, make sure everything's going okay. because I really threw this together real quick like I always do. And there was one time I did a lawn care video and I had no volume at all. I had inadvertently hit one of my volume tabs to 0, and I didn't realize that that's what I had done. So I do have my garage door open. The garage door is actually behind the screen here. And, oh, I forgot to put my probe in. So I guess before I burn the coffee, better do that. I didn't think about that part when I set this up. Oops. So I'm gonna have to move this camera a little bit here. So let me do a little fix on the fly here. All right, there's that for this scene. Let's go to this one. Holy shit, we're already at 400. Let me turn this down here. No, we're not at 400. I have my flame too high. There's no way I'm at 400. I have that cranked way too high. Making a mess here on my screen. But yeah, we are not at 420. Don't worry. There's no way that's that high. Finish fixing this here, and then I'll get back to the program. So I think just because I had the flame up too high, the internal temperature got a little too high. I haven't ruined this yet, so I think I saved it. So I guess I can get back to what I was saying now. So on the screen right now, you see, all these camera scenes. So what I've done here is this is kind of not exactly what I do, but I do multiple camera views on my other channel, especially when I'm doing videos and making videos. So I decided to do it here because here's what happened. So yesterday, had this huge storm come in. It was very, very windy and very rainy. I mean, it was just pouring rain. And the internet went out at like 1 o'clock yesterday, Saturday. So we were just kind of sitting around, and we went out and did a few things, and we came back. The internet was supposed to be on. Well, the internet didn't come back on. It said it came on, but it didn't. So I kind of fought with the internet company trying to figure out what was going on and never resolved it. And then as I'm on the phone with these guys talking to them, it's like 8 o'clock at night, power goes out. As soon as the power goes out, can't fix the internet now. So I just kind of hung out in the dark for a little while. I mean, I have a backup generator and I was going to set it up, but it's like, well, why set it up? I just watch a few videos and go to bed, set up a hotspot and went to bed. And then when I got up this morning, the power was still out, internet's out, everything's out. And I sat around for a little while. I got the generator going. And I was just kind of, wow, what am I going to do today? Wife says, hey, we need more coffee. You need to roast some coffee today. And I'm like, all right, I'll get some coffee roasted. So because it's pouring rain, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to do it in the garage. And then stupid me, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to do a live in the garage. So I'll set up the green screen, I'll get a bunch of cameras going, and we'll just do a live. I was like, I want to do dark roast. So again, thank you to the new subscribers. One of the new subscribers was demoing and talking about a hand grinder that he was demoing for grinding for espresso. Oh, sorry about that. Just stretch a little. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And it made me start thinking, I'm like, I haven't done a really dark espresso roast in a while. Let me just go ahead and do that today. And then the whole idea of doing this whole setup here with all these cameras and everything like that, I'm just like, I'm stupid, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So I got the camera set up here. I got my thermometer set up so you could see it today. Tried to get everything set up really good. It took me a little longer than I wanted to. We have somewhere to go here in about 30 minutes. We need to start thinking about leaving. So I was like, that gives me enough time to get this roast in. I got everything set up, about as good as I was going to get it set up. I wanted to spend a little more time, but I had the garage door shut when I was setting everything up. And then once I opened the garage door, because of all the backlight that came up on my green screen, it ruined all my angles and my shots. And I was like, oh my God, I just ruined this whole thing. But I got to have the garage door open because it's smoky and needs some ventilation and all that. So I just was like, whatever, I'll just go ahead and do this and take this as a learning curve. And then next time I'll set it up in the back part of my garage instead, so it works a little better and it doesn't ruin my shots. I was just trying to have a little background. So, in the background of the video here, this is just where I live. I live in Washington State. And I do know there's a lot of viewers from out of the country. And then I also have, local country people that live within the United States that watch. So I live like, I call it Tacoma because Seattle is so crazy and I hate being associated with it anymore. It used to be a really great and beautiful city, and now it's just garbage. Everywhere you go up there, it's just garbage. Everything is garbage. It's not safe anymore. And so I don't claim living in the Seattle area. I claim I live in Tacoma. So we're at 429 degrees here. Looks like I got the roast back down to being a little bit more even. Let's see. I lost my views. Oh, I didn't set up the, that was what I did. So I wanted to have this close-up view right here down in the bottom left corner. I wanted to have its own camera view there. So we're definitely cracking now. We're at 430 degrees. I got to start thinking about not talking so much and paying more attention to the roast, because we're definitely getting into the dark area. I'm going to get my gloves on. I'm going to get my pliers to open the basket. So yeah, I had the roaster way too hot when I first started. I hope I didn't. I don't think I ruined it, but I probably need to give a little more temperature here. My neighbors all think I'm crazy already, so it's no big deal. I do the lawn mowing videos. I have all these cameras set up in my yard when I do the lawn mowing. I don't normally have the garage door open when I do the videos, the live video, when I do my lawn mowing channel, my lawn care. If you're interested in lawn care, Me and My McLean is my other YouTube channel. It's just, again, something I just do out of boredom, something to do. And I talk about lawn care in my yard, how to take care of it. you know, I have a putting green, I have a fairway grass. I cut my putting green at 2 millimeters and my fairway grass at 1/4 of an inch. So I talk about it because when I looked into starting to do that, we're at 441 degrees right now, so we're getting really close. I'm going to go to 455 and I'm going to shut this thing down, and I'm going to kind of let it roast without the heat on and get it up to about 460, I hope. Sorry I didn't get that view. I could probably enlarge it here for you. So this is where we're at right now. You can see in the window. We're at 453. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the heat down. Gonna spin this thing a little faster. It's smoking pretty good now. So good thing I don't have a fire alarm in my garage. Temperature's actually starting to drop a little bit. I wanted it a little bit darker than this. Start this back up. So you can still see the temperature up in the top right there. And then, like I said, I just have the camera on the close-up of this. You can't really see in there too well, I see now. So let me oh my God. Okay. Shouldn't have turned my back on. See if we can't not catch on fire. Okay. Wow, I went way out of control on that one. All right, we're gonna have to see how this looks. It actually looks really good though. I'm looking at it in the window here. It looks really nice and dark. I'm just letting it spin to kind of cool down a little bit before I stop it and open it. It's really smoking. Smells like Starbucks roasting in here. They always burn their coffee. It's definitely dark. Get this out of here. All right, survey says, how bad did we do? I'm going to change the camera view for you in just a second here. I'm just trying to get these beans to cool down a little bit. Seems a little bit too full. Go to this. trying not to talk here because all this chaff flying out. So again, this is why you want to do this outdoors. It's just making a huge mess because of all this chaff flying around. You know, if it wasn't, I mean, it stopped raining now, but I'm sure it would start raining if I tried to do this outside. I'm gonna say right now, that looks great. Oh my God. I was a little nervous that it was going to be really terrible looking, but it actually looks really great. It's got a little oily shine to it. Let me get this other basket over here. Oh my God. So much chaff. So I do have an espresso machine. I like to mix 2 espresso shots in my 16-ounce mug of coffee. You know, an Americano is like 2 shots in water. I don't know what it's called when you mix 2 shots into your coffee, but that's what I like to do. That's really great. So I have an espresso maker. I haven't been using it a lot lately. You know, once I saw that new subscriber that had that hand grinder for espresso, I'm thinking about getting one now, because my biggest thing about espresso making it is I have a really crappy grinder. I have 2 of them, and they're burr grinders, and they grind to a nice espresso grind, but they get clogged a lot. And because I don't really make espresso every day, because I can't, I mean, I gotta go to work and stuff. I can't lay around the house all day making coffee and espresso. And in the morning when I wake up, I try to chill out and relax before I go to work, because I used to get home from work a lot really late. And I don't get to hang out and relax that much, so I try to just relax and meditate and have a little bit of quiet time. So I don't really make espresso, and then I get ready, you know, take a shower, get ready for work, make my lunch, and then I leave. And just have a whole routine I do in the morning. So I don't really make espresso. I could, but I just don't. Normally I make espresso on the weekend. So I think this is doing pretty good now. So our coffee grinder, and I've never really talked about this. No, it's part of the roasting, you know. Oh, it's terrible. I gotta make this because as I'm de-chafing, more chafe is getting into the other basket. So our coffee grinder is got a timer on it, so we can set it to go off in the morning. And it's basically my alarm clock. And it's one of those coffee grinders that grinds the coffee before it brews, so you get a fresh grind every morning. And it has all these settings on it, you know, for how many cups you're making and how bold you want it and everything like that. And it's a great coffee grinder. I mean, it costs a couple $100, but it's really nice. I really like it because, you know, when you roast fresh coffee like this and then you have it ground fresh before it's brewed, oh my God. If you like coffee, you got to invest in that. I mean, maybe you might want to invest in roasting first and experiencing and learning that process and everything. Sorry, I just need to shake myself off here. I'm going to mix these two together. See if I can't get you a good visual of this. I don't have good lighting over here. I have better lighting over here. Hold on a second. I think I can get better light on here. Oops. So cool. See that? It's got a nice little shine and some oil to it. Definitely a dark roast. I mean, I'm going to call this dark to espresso. Still a few with a lighter chocolate looking color. But for the most part, I could see it on the screen there, and it definitely looks darker than it actually is on the screen. I don't think my lighting is good enough in here for, probably need to adjust my camera. So what you're seeing on the screen is definitely giving it a little bit darker than it is. It's not that dark. I mean, I have a couple of lights right behind me here. I thought it would be a little better right here. Back up a little bit. And I'm looking at the screen too from further away, so I can't really tell how it looks. But realistically, this looks like an espresso or a dark to espresso looking type of a bean if you bought a bag of it roasted by somebody professional. You know, I'm not a professional. I'm an amateur. I mean, I just do this for fun. I like it. I like the flavor. Like, I don't know if you saw my Thursday roast 2 Thursdays ago, but it turned out really, really good. The flavor on it was incredible. Let's see, I'm gonna try that out. Take this off. Let me see if I can get this. It's all on the fly here. thing over here. So again, I thank everybody who's become a subscriber. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. Let me take the filter off of here. Sorry if I'm boring you here. I'm just trying to get so you can see a better view of this. Let's get this up in there. Yeah, it still looks really dark in that video, or in that picture on the screen. It's really just not that dark. Zoom this out a little bit. So anyways, I want to call that a really successful dark to espresso roast. I was a little nervous it wasn't going to turn out that great, but I think it turned out really good. So I have my flame a little bit too high to start, but I think I recovered very well. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed how the temperature had climbed there in my thermometer. I was trying to get it to, sorry I can't get this picture going any better. This. Yeah, well, I'll take some pictures of it. My camera once I'm done. It really looks, it's not that dark. I don't have a filter on my lens or anything. So anyways, that's coffee roasting. I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. I would do this if nobody watched. I just do this, like I said, just take up some time. I really feel like coffee roasting is something that anybody can do. If you want to learn how to do it. I figured if I did this enough, showing people, time after time, I do it every 2 weeks, do 2 pounds, and it might give somebody the confidence to go ahead and try it. I mean, you just saw here, I was on the road to failure on this batch here, and I caught it in time. I recovered. And for me, I've had coffee that's been worse than this as far as darkness, a lot darker, some burnt beans and things. I don't even really see any burnt beans in here. I see like a really deep chocolate type color. And I'm actually can't wait to taste this. It'll be a couple of days until I taste it, but I'm going to make some espresso out of it next weekend. Saturday morning, grind some coffee. I think I'm going to order a hand grinder too. Try that out. So again, thanks for watching. That's roasting coffee at home. This is definitely a dark blend. Hope you enjoyed the setup. I tried to do a couple more different camera angles. I was really trying to just incorporate the temperature so you can kind of see how the temperature was going. And holy mackerel, that temperature was out of control today. I can't believe what I did on that, but whatever. It all worked out in the end. And I think I got a great roast here. I'll report back to you on my next video what I thought of it. I'll be honest, if it feels burnt or has a bitter flavor to it, I'll say something. I have no shame in anything. Like I said, I'm an amateur. I learned how to do this from my son many years ago, and I've just been doing it. And every week, whether it rains or shines, I do it in my garage or I do it in the backyard. And you know, with it being winter and all that, you know, I got lucky. The power came on today a couple hours ago, and I was like, I'm going to do this. Set this up, got it going. And I hope the people that enjoy watching this or doing this to kind of learn and, you know, try this at home. I think it's great. Even if you spend the $200 to get set up with the roaster, the burner, go out and get your tank of propane, table, fan, you know, thermometer. You know, I recommend this kind of roaster. I really like it. I really feel like I get a nice even roast. I had the basket roaster before. If you look back on my channel, you'll see I had a different roaster I used to use. And it was a fine roaster, but I didn't get as even of a roast. And, you know, I had some issues. I have burnt a batch. I've had a batch catch on fire. You know, that's why it's great that I do it outdoors. It catches on fire, I open it up, dump it on the ground in dirt, and bury it. And it's roast another batch. I mean, that's what happens. So again, thank you for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions or anything, you know, add it in the comments or send me a note. I appreciate you subscribing, watching. Thanks again, and I will see you on the next roast. Have a great day.